How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go for a little bit more of a simple mission. That's for like the first 2/3 of the video, and then there's a little something afterwards, just me messing around. Yeah, I'm going for what's it called? Lost Supplies on this one. It's on not Grainwoods River, Black Badger Lake. Got the old the classic duo back for this one, Dolphin and Loaf. Yeah, I'm going to try a little different way. I'm going to sort of cut the normal way, but then turn that over the bridge, cut through that forest. That's like the dodgy muddy section, so I cut that out. That's another trollish muddy section, so I sort of loop around that, and then I'm back on the road following that around. I was just kind of mixing and matching it a little bit, trying a few new routes on that. And then yeah, that like the house I just went past is where I got to deliver it. I've got to grab these two things, they service spare parts, out of the water. A little bit of a awkward place to get them out. And yeah, that's it, take them to the house. So in theory, it should be a pretty simple, quicker mission, which I didn't want to do anything like any crazy missions tonight, because I didn't go sleep in the end yesterday, so I felt pretty tired anyway. It's one of them where it's like a headache could just start kicking in, so I didn't want to get stuck into anything too big. Don't know what she said. And yeah, I just thought anyway, as like I've had my eye on this mission for a little while. It keeps this is the first mission it always recommends me every time I reload the game, so I've deactivated the thing enough times, so I thought this time we'll yeah, give it a go, and like I said, take the old pair out. It's nice as well, just having a Dolphin and a Loaf, just one of them. As much as I do like the road trains, they're obviously like forced to be a lot slower because it just doesn't let the rear vehicle of the road train go at like high gear. I mean, this is Dolphin just ticking along nicely in high gear, and like I said, that's of course many reasons to get yourself a Loaf, but yeah, the Loaf doesn't weigh enough to disrupt the Dolphin just ticking along in high gear. That's where I mean, like, it's yeah, a Tatrin would be nice to take with you, but a Tatrin would weigh me down like mad and I'll be going half the speed, so it's kind of like, yeah, a double-edged sword really, whereas the Loaf, who knows what the Loaf is. He's more than a double-edged sword. He's like a nuclear weapon who is on your side. Yeah, I mean, this one, I'm almost doing a bit of a speed run on this, just trying to fly across the map as fast as I can. And again, while I've not got a road train on the go, it was nice to drop the hammer a little bit and yeah, try out some different pathways. Like I said, this is the main way I've been using that cuts out loads of those muddy bits going past like the paper factory down towards the railway bridge really. But yeah, instead of cutting through the railway, I just wanted to like I turn left up here somewhere, and there's like a little rickety bridge going over like a well, I suppose it's to the left, that little river, but there's like little cliff faces and that, so it's yeah, it goes over there, like I said, through the forest. It just cuts out all the muddy bits pretty nicely, and this thing would fly along just fine, probably through the railway anyway, and like down the rail tracks and through all those rocks and that. But yeah, I've used that way a couple of times recently, so like I said, I just like to mix it up. I cut about perfectly a minute out there. I got hooked on the bloody crane legs of that Tiger. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers that might have seen the live stream, yesterday I did roll a Colob and a Loaf and everything there. That's why the Tiger's there. We'll get to that later. But yeah, so I could load the metal beams. Anyway, back to this one. Like I said, yeah, that was that little bridge. I mean, looking at that bridge, I wouldn't risk driving a bloody go-kart over it, never mind a laden truck. The Loaf, of course he'd make it. He'd probably fly even if the bridge doesn't give out. So yeah, fortunately, not too muddy through here though, nothing, no rocks, no like ridiculously angled terrain or anything that's trying to make you tip. And just to my left is where all the trollish mud basically just ended, that takes like 4 or 5 minutes to drive through. I mean, this video hasn't even been going 4 minutes yet. I would have been stuck in that little patch alone. And then yeah, that little section as well that I'm now avoiding, that probably takes another easily 2 or 3 minutes, maybe a little bit quicker because I have only got Dolphin and Loaf. I've not got like a trailer and everything, but still, again, it's just boring. I don't like it. Even if this took as long, I'd rather go on this route because, like I said, yeah, I'd rather take a 10-minute detour around a 5-minute traffic jam just because I'd rather be driving for 10 minutes instead of sat in traffic for 5. That was my bad there. I let go of the steering a bit early, so I didn't quite make the corner. So I have made that corner before in one sweeping go, and then yeah, that whole section takes what, like 10 or 20 seconds or something instead of more like 2 to 3 minutes. So basically, where we pop back out now, I probably could have cut along the grassy bank a little better and just avoided that last bit of mud. But yeah, We're basically at the railway bridge now, so we're not too far off. Should be able to see the little house and everything we're heading to. And at this point as well, obviously we're going to go past the fuel station, but I had faith in my loaf that he'd brought the relevant supplies, and we'll make it. And yeah, one mission I was actually doing tonight, I had to go at, was that, what's it called, Only for the Worthy on Grainwood River. And oh my god, that in the end, I stopped it for multiple reasons. Like, I won't go too into it now, but essentially, I think it's a pretty stupid mission, because it's not fun or difficult, it's just trollish, and it highlights some flaws in the game. It's almost like they're using the flaws in the game to create the difficulty spike. What I mean is, like, it's a P12 with a large crane, and it's tipped over, like near enough tipped over on its side in some like muddy ditch. And yeah, I went in with the loaf, and what did I take? The White Western Star I just used, like the loaf, just rode that there. Then I sent the loaf, and yeah, the loaf got the P12 back to its wheels in like a second or two. It was easy. But because it's got the big crane on it, it's got the crane legs, and they were digging in the other side of the map, and it's like, or the terrain or whatever, sorry. And yeah, at that point, I was wedged behind a tree with my loaf, so grip and all that isn't an issue. I had the advanced winch, which is like the strongest winch basically in the game, so yeah, but it's like when the crane legs are hooking into the terrain, that's it just locks it there. You could go past at full speed with a twin steer and stick a winch on as you go past, and you'd just get whiplash and it'd stop your twin steer dead. Like, but the P12 is my main crane truck. I've used it for half a year or more, and yeah, I've tipped that thing plenty of times, and when the crane legs get stuck in the terrain, it doesn't matter what you're trying to pull it with, you've got to tip it to get the legs out of the terrain, because it's just, they dig in. And like I said, that highlights a little bit of a sketchy area of the game where crane legs aren't going to dig into soggy mud and absolutely be anchored as if they've been like nuclear welded onto the core of the planet, and they're not going anywhere. So that was the first issue, and again, it wasn't like the loaf did it, and I still was glad I took the loaf, because it was easy with the loaf just to keep zipping up and down either side of the bank. You have to essentially just keep winching from side to side and slowly shimmying the thing to where the P12 gets its nose round a bit more level. And then on top of that, the other thing was like the winch mechanics seem to change every week in this game. It's like a lucky dip. And yeah, this time it was like if you hoover the winch in, the truck doesn't drive, so you just, it's like a dead truck that you're trying to winch in. And again, the winches are weaker than they used to be. Or I can drive, and then the P12 will drive, but I can't hoover the winch in. And if I hoover the winch in and drive, the P12 just doesn't put any power down. So then you sit there alternating between like driving and hoovering the winch in, whereas back in the day they'd stack and you could like use both of them. That was the point of it, really. That's kind of common sense what you do with the winch if you were trying to get somebody unstuck. Yeah, and then the last thing was just, the other thing it highlights is the P12 is underpowered and it's a bit of a crap truck. And that mission just highlights it perfectly when you're trying to drag that thing over the littlest of bumps, and it's just like barely wheel spinning up half a mile an hour, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, everything about it was, again, I wouldn't say it's like, yeah, only for the worthy or whatever, it was just only for the patient, only for the patient, or only for the, I don't know, mentally imbalanced. Like I said, yeah, it wasn't even annoying me, it was just one of those that make you sort of roll your eyeballs, like, really? They actually put this mission in the game that essentially uses, yeah, some of the flaws of the game to make the difficulty, and it's like, that's a pretty stupid way to go about it. So anyway, we'll get to that another time. I pretty much did it, but I stopped because I was like, I just wasn't happy with it. It'd just be a lot of editing, and I was just like, meh, I'll see, I'll try a few different things. Well, I'll be sending the loaf, obviously, but yeah, I don't know, I'll play around with it a bit, that's what she said, and we'll see. I wasn't too keen on it, so that's why I came and did this one in the end, which, as you can see, as I was rabbiting on, we got down here, I got to the bridge, I just got the first cargo. Again, one thing, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's just a slight oversight. Those yellow diamonds or whatever that are hovering over the box, I can't see when my winch point is connected to the box, because that covers it. So you have to put your camera at like weird angles trying to look under the yellow box, so you can see if you've got it or not. And again, the winches were behaving really weird tonight. Sometimes they just weren't connecting to anything. even if it was near enough, and I had to manually, I don't know, just all sorts, like, and then other times it wasn't seeing a truck behind me that I was winched to 5 seconds ago and all sorts, so been a bit of a mad one tonight, probably because of that update, that, like, yeah, the big update they did while I was doing the live streaming, or, well, that's when it was updating for me. Yeah, so, I mean, the good news is they've fixed the reverse gear, so that now goes into reverse as quick as it normally does. And yeah, getting this second box, you could see, I tried to drive around the other way and kind of get my nose near enough, but it wasn't close enough to the crane wasn't letting me have it. Even now, it's not offering me a winch point for some reason, even though it's there. But anyway, the Lo4f, as you can see a minute ago, I reversed it as far back in the Dolphin as I could, because I want it to actually, like, be, yeah, rear heavy, so it stops, like, instead of me being nose heavy going down the hill, that'll help me when I reverse back out of it. So I was reaching down, a little bit precarious. If I went much further, well, I could probably, if there's an immovable tree somewhere, I could probably get my way out, or I'd just send the Lo4f out and then it's a mobile winch point. I mean, there's just a million and one reasons to get yourself a Lo4f. He is a goddamn professional, but fortunately, just being a weight distribution Lo4f and a moral support Lo4f, we got the job done. And obviously at this point, in theory, the plan was to then kindly ask the Lo4f to get out the sideboard so I could pack these things, but as is the way sometimes, I was like, oh hell no, I'll wear it like a hat. Lo4f is perfectly happy where he is. I do not see the problem. I mean, look at him, the Dolphin looks good with a hat. It even moves when he does his horn. Yeah, it's a bit of a sketchy bridge, this. Again, wouldn't be seen dead walking over it. Never mind driving a big fat truck. It's funny when you watch stuff online, particularly with, like, Russia and India are particular gems for... I mean, some of them, it's obviously, like, you just think, is that person stupid? But some of them is, like, you got to almost hand it to them. Like, they've got some balls driving the stuff they do over and through and across things they do. It's, like, it's pretty mad. Pretty funny, but... obviously not when people die, but just some of the close calls is like, that's what I like watching. More than the actual horrendous crashes, don't get me wrong. I have watched them and I do, there is a part of me that does enjoy them, but I like close calls sort of videos, where it's like someone almost just got laid out, but they made it by the skin of their teeth. So anyway, yeah, wore, what's it, a service spare part like a hat. The other one, the Lo4f, I mean, he's looking after it. Fits pretty nicely. Again, that's definitely what she said. And we're away. Fortunately, it's only around the corner. In the end, this was quite a nice sort of sized mission, really. It was. It probably took me 15 to 20 minutes total, but you'll see why. I'll cut a little bit out. Yeah, but all, like, say, messing around aside, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. And the payout, I don't think it was too bad. Not a big, fat, juicy payout, but good enough. Good enough to make me not need to go and glitch some engines for another day. It's going so slow that in the end it's like, god damn it, Dolphin. Get in high gear. And we're here. So, oh, sorry mate, sorry about your fence. Oh, and that bit, and that bit. Yeah, got it. I mean, look, the Lo4f even neatly packed the cargo as we arrived. That's what you can expect from a goddamn professional. So, yeah, feeling cocky, I unpacked the Lo4f and thought, oh, if I pack the cargo, maybe it'll just shove the nose of the Lo4f up in the air and kind of wedge the cargo in place. It didn't do that, and don't try that, because it deleted my bloody cargo. But note, there was an arrow in the background over here implying that my cargo had teleported back to its nesting place. And it hadn't, it was lying. And the worst thing was, I had to go over there to find out it was lying, back to here to reset the bloody mission, to go back over there to get the box. However, good news is, when I reset the mission, I left one cargo there, because I only lost one when I kind of messed up. Yeah, and it kept it there, so now I've got 3 lots of service spare parts, whatever. Admittedly, I'm not really bothered. I'm just saying, maybe there is some kind of situational mission where that could be to your advantage. Point is, it didn't reset both of them and just steal my my cargo I'd already got there. And the nice thing about that was, when I came back here, I just had to go and get this. The easier of the 2 boxes. That other one's like, we'll send in the Lo4f one day, but for now that can remain a free-range service spare part. And again, another hat, admittedly. Not being worn as neatly as the last one, but in my defence, it did just steal and teleport one away from me, so I was in a slight more rush than usual. When well, again, like I said, since playing Wreckfest, that's helped get rid of release the demons, so I can actually handle being sensible on this game for longer than 5 minutes. Not all the time, but it's a work in progress. And again, don't know why this mud was being particularly slow, but I'm pretty sure around now I'm going to ram it in high, because it was starting to, there we go, triple click, bang it in high, drop the hammer, fingers crossed, and we're good to go. Ooh, somehow he built his fence again, but I managed to smash more of it. Yeah, this time I was like, hell no, we're not going to try the risky packing it while the loaf's in there. But again, back in the day, when you used to go into like a cargo area and select cargo, if you had a loaf in the sideboard, it just kind of punched the loaf up in the air and then it'd sit on top of the cargo, which was pretty convenient. I mean, he's still a beast though. He jumps out, no hassle. I was hoping to keep him there doing a handstand, because then I could just easily zip him back into the sideboard afterwards. I've basically only got to pack these just to then deliver them, which is a bit of a pain, but it is what it is. I kind of expected it, so we'll make do. But yeah, I don't know why now Loaf decides to have a nap. Probably because of my shocking crane skills. I am pretty bad on these cranes, I'm not going to lie. It's funny though, I've not used any of these cranes for weeks and weeks. I used a large crane the other week when I did that oversized cargo thing you had to take from the rail tracks to the farm, but I've honestly not used, these little cranes for ages, because they're pretty crap. Well, they don't lift loaves, that's the problem. And if you can't lift a loaf, I mean, what use are you to me? It's like, do you even loaf, bro? Yeah, there's the mission. Was it 420 XP? That's good to know. I can't see the money, to be honest. 4,000 or 9,000? Who knows? It's a mystery to me as well. When this video is finally uploaded, I'll find out at the same time as you guys. Yeah, so that was that, and I mean, that was done. I just wanted to show you though, this was me loading up the game tonight, just to show you, I mean, this is... So you remember, I tipped this, I've got a club on its side, an 8-slot trailer, 4 lots of metal beams, and the loaf. Unfortunately, it was a very, very sad moment in SnowRunner history, but the loaf, yeah, I've got the, the advanced winch on this, so in other words, I haven't got the autonomous winch, meaning he's laying on his side, and I can't winch to anything, and obviously, any less than a professional would probably tap out, rightly so, in this situation, but my loaf, he's learnt a few things, so we'll see what happens. Can the loaf make it out? Right, never mind the club. The fuck are you, club? You're on your own. Should rescue the loaf, goddammit. Yeah, as you can see, this is, well, I mean, use what's at your disposal. Somebody said it ages and ages ago in one of the videos, a comment along the lines of, this game is basically a puzzle game with trucks. And they're basically right, for most situations. There is something that you can do to blag your way out of it. So mine involved wiggling an 8-slot trailer around in the air. And yeah, I probably would have been done well to like just remove the cargo, because that is kind of stopping my trailer scooting around more. But they're my metal beams, I earn them, so sod that, I ain't letting the game just steal them from me. Oh yes, right, we switch back to the loaf, and look at him, even in death, he jumped forward and lined his tyres up to like the step deck bit of the trailer again. Sorry, I'm talking like an idiot tonight, but obviously, yeah, lack of sleep. It's start talking with the mental age of a 10-year-old. Right, I mean, I was only 10 and a half after a good night's sleep anyway. Inches, that is. Yeah, and there we have it. Kept wiggling the trailer around, and the goddamn horse of the vehicle. He found what he needed. He fired up. I only did a little edit there, because before I got a tree that wouldn't pop out of the ground, I got 3 shrubs. So yeah, instead of watching that. And there we go. What a goddamn professional. That was a victory horn. Well earned. So you see, of course, it's not a sad day in SnowRunner history. The loaf is, of course, a goddamn professional. So, any naysayers? Tune in next time. See if the loaf can save his bacon again. And he's out of there. I mean, look, I did, by the way, just throwing it out there, but I did have a Dan parked there, which, by the way, I would completely consider like a normal situation. The Dan was sat there. I didn't bring the Dan or anything, so I would quite happily flip the loaf and the club with the Dan, but it was just more, I don't know, for the fun of it, as I loaded the game up. Again, look now, I keep sticking it, it's because this is when I just loaded the game up, and I wasn't used to how quick it goes into reverse and out of reverse again, so I kept holding it for too long and going straight from reverse into high gear and then stalling. So I mean, it's good that they've fixed it, but yeah, for the first 10 minutes or whatever, god damn it, it was getting me. And yeah, I mean, it was looking, I admit, this is definitely like that dolphin we rescued in the live stream yesterday. When someone said, oh, the loaf's done, it was like, I'm not even worried about that. The loaf eats dolphins for breakfast. But yeah, I'll admit, the clubs do scare me a little bit more. I've never failed with a club so far, however, yeah, they're definitely the ones. I went to go winch to the trailer there. For some reason, it didn't offer me any winch points along the trailer. Again, it's been really trollish with the winches tonight. Every now and then it was just like, nope, you can't winch to that, you can't winch to this. Yeah, so instead of bringing the trailer towards me a bit more, I brought the nose of the club towards me a bit more, and thought, we'll try again. And it starts going a little bit now, but the problem is, like, as I had to bring the nose of it round, it's more than 90 degrees, and you can see from the trailer angle, yeah, it's a lot further over than 90 degrees. And the trailer in its own right is obviously sticking up in the air like a big pendulum, leaning over that way as well. So that's making it even harder to flip. I could, as a backup option, go into the club and disconnect the trailer. I'd be willing to do that. What I wanted to do, though, preferably, was if it did offer me the winch points on the trailer, I could kind of start tipping the trailer first. And because the 8 slot's quite flexy as well, and it's pretty long, by the time I've kind of twisted the back end around to its almost level, it'll start putting a lot of rotational force on the club, and it'll sort of potentially help it go. Right now, again, it's a lucky dip with the winches as to what's going on, like what mechanics is happening this week. Sometimes it's drive mode, sometimes it's pull mode, sometimes it's a horrific broken combination of the two, if you can barely call it that. Today was, yeah, basically sod all, so the club wasn't even trying to fire up an engine or do much of anything. But as you can see, those wheels slowly reach into the screen. I was like, oh yes, what an absolute goddamn horse of a vehicle. I mean, get yourself a loaf, ladies and gentlemen. It just saves the day every time, you see. And we were both tipped over. Neither of us could fire our engines up, but the loaf finds a way. Oh, you like Neo from the Matrix. And this, I mean, I had to slow the footage down because he does work pretty quick. I certainly wouldn't recommend this by any stretch of the imagination. It was just, I don't know, maybe I was feeling a bit cocky after just rescuing an unrescuable situation. So I was determined to get a piece of cargo on there just to prove the point that, and I've done it before, and I'll probably do it again. The loaf can in fact get cargo back onto trailers. It's just like I said, I spent about, what, 5 or 10 minutes doing this. Like, if somebody said, here's 10 grand if you can get all 4 of those back on, I would have sat here long enough, but yeah. I was like, I'll get one on. I mean, I've proved my point. There it is. Goddamn horse for a vehicle. But yeah, that's essentially why the Tag was there that I crashed into with the Dolphin when I was doing the other mission, because I had no reason to try and sit there for another hour trying to get a load those other 3 metal beams on the trailer. I can guarantee I could do it, but yeah, there's just no point. And anyway, I mean, there's no end to the magic of the loaf. After I got the clobber and all that repacked, the trailer was stuck on the brow of the hill. So I had to send a loaf in. You have to approach anally. And yeah, again, because he's a goddamn horse of vehicle. I mean, he winched to the trailer, he's hoovering under. Like I said, that's like some witchcraft stuff. That's like lifting yourself up off the floor. But somehow he manages it. And he rammed the trailer high enough that it was like lifted off the floor. And the loaf said, be free, club. And then it was so, and the club was free. And, I mean, again, that's why you get yourself a goddamn horse of a vehicle. Never mind the club. Get one of them if you've got a bit of spare money, but it's all about them loafs. Anyway, that's about it for today, though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Of course, get yourself a goddamn professional, and I'll be back soon.